Hello and welcome to the debate to end all debates. Is music better than sex? In other words, where are you getting your good vibrations from? We have 6 extremely capable comedians, and by capable, I mean they are breathing and they don't mind if I make a little bit of fun of them, because that's what it's all about. I'm your host, like I said. My name is Adam Jacobs. So here we go. The first speaker for music from Ipswich, Kieran McLeod. He's a stand-up comedian, writer, and Cure Brain Cancer Foundation ambassador. I'm told he still has most of his marbles, and for the most part, they're in his head. Oh, yes, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's find out. Kieran, your time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, music is better than sex. How many times do you think police have been called to a property for a case of musical abuse? Never. No one's ever passed out from choking the neck of a guitar. But if they had, it would be so much easier to listen out for the assailant. Sex drives people to misbehave. Music drives people to work. Now, obviously, sex can drive you to work too if you're into that. But there's a good reason we don't use breakfast radio to play hardcore pornography, because traffic accidents would see a hard rise. Music is better than sex, but in our modern society, we have apps that grant us easy access to both Spotify and Tinder. Now, I will always argue that Spotify is better than Tinder, because no one's ever been called, for a random example, specky, curly-headed twat on Spotify. But I hear from a very close personal friend that's not the case on Tinder. Music is better than sex. No one's ever had a musically transmitted disease. Keith Richards tried his hardest, but to no avail. This is, of course, much to the dismay of Ben Lee, as we could not catch my disease. There's a good reason we use music to court a prospective partner, because it's beautiful and enticing. And if you tried to court a prospective partner with sex, well, you'd be in prison, or a Hollywood producer. Another key difference is that unsolicited guitar photos are so much nicer than wiener snaps, and a guitar will always make a noise when it gets fingered. Music is better than sex. And it's said that men think about sex every 10 labia seconds. Now, this is a pervasive stereotype that has no place in 2020, especially not when it's more true that we all have a song stuck in our hearts almost constantly. I mean, sure, imagining bikini babes is a pastime for a lot of Aussie men, but nowhere near as many Aussies as imagining riding on the horses, yeah, yeah. Another key difference is that a group of people in a garage making music together is cool and productive, while a group of people in a garage making sex together is going to leave Victoria in lockdown. Now, as a small tangent on that note, I had a friend who didn't know what to do. Being the pathetic person I am, I just told them, I feel you. How did they react? Well, they were touched. Music is better than sex. No one's ever ruined their lives by participating in unprotected teenage band practice, except, of course, for high school music teachers. Now, this is a common mistake that I've seen affect the lives of so many of my peers. One night, one mistake, and all their future plans change, leading to possible mental and physical side effects. But wouldn't it be better if after those 9 long months, that baby could be fired out with a tuba noise accompaniment? Or, for slower babies, a slide whistle as they plop onto the floor. It'd make it all worthwhile, because music is better than sex. Now, there's a reason that a common euphemism for doing the horizontal tango is to make beautiful music together. Because even the squeaky bedspring sonnet itself is technically music. And in fact, I'm sure many of us were conceived to music. Because why listen to your partner when you could instead listen to a rhythmic 4/4 beat? Now, personally, I believe any and all conceptions should be done to the Wiggles, mostly just to get you used to what you're about to live with, but also because what sexier euphemism than get a wiggle on? Ooh, shivers just thinking about it. I do recommend, though, if you're going to do that, do leave Wags the dog well away from it. One final note, though, if you're going to listen to music during the fellatio fumble, do stay away from anything by Chris Brown. I heard my own voice and that threw me. Thank you. Music is better than sex.
Kevin McLeod, folks.
Kevin.
A very silent round of applause. Yay! Actually, Kieran said to me, I just didn't have what it took to be in the negative team, Adam. And I said, mate, you didn't have what exactly? He said, any sexual experience. So there you go. On the other hand, folks, here we go. The first speaker for the sex side is Manic Mandy from Mackay. Is she your favourite granny with a fanny pack? Or does she dress up her cats in leather? Let's find out. Your time begins now.
As a 3-score, 4-beat, saber-toothed tiger, my teeth are too long to be a cougar. I know a thing or two about getting a leg over an amplifier. I'd rather see a dick pic than Dick's pic. I am a vocalist, soloist, pianist, violinist, flutist, oboist, clarinetist, physicist, environmentalist, and bus conductor. I'd rather conduct a sex score than a music score. Oh, lower. Oh, presto, presto, faster, faster. Oh, that's the note. That's the note. Oh. Rather than I'm a clairvoyant, and I see my naive, uneducated music lovers as just having a very lonely life. They will end up being alone, being former shells of themselves. Yes, they've tried dating, but they weren't any good at it. Not a sharp note amongst any of them. They fell flat. They bored their girlfriends with long ballads about their neighbours next door's friend from the planet Triple Clef who just ate semi-quavers in semi-briefs instead of getting into their dates' G-string briefs. And they will be living in squalid hovels with all their instruments and their sound gear and their drums and scores of music scores. It'll be the only scoring they'll be getting as they gently open up the door, stepping out to Lonely Street, where they'll be ever so lonely, baby, ever so lonely, baby, ever so lonely. They could die, and die they will, of prostate cancer, because they haven't emptied out and blown out their bagpipes 21 times a month. Or they will get autoimmune diseases. That's because they've been fretting about their fingering on their instruments instead of fingering their friends' sex organs. Now, I just hope that the audience will indulge a silly old lady and join in on this little experiment. We will rock you. Come on, everyone. We will rock you. Now that was not better than sex. I tip my hat to my colleagues and tip my hat to my formidable opponents and to brain cancer. Thank you.
Manic Mandy, folks. Come on, give her a round of applause. Yay! I tell you what, Mandy gets great reviews for her comedy, and she is also available for private chats. Go to I'llHaveWhatShe'sHaving.com. Whoa! I think you know what I'm saying. Folks, you can find Mandy on FB here. Okay, there we go, folks. Have a look at the chats. You're getting the links to the acts as they're performing. Now it's time to call out a sponsor. Sorry, a sponsor call out. Tonight's show is sponsored by the Mount Morgan Art Gallery. It's a little community up in the hills near Rockhampton, and the gallery is an independent space for arts, culture, and creative shenanigans of all ages. Our timekeeper is putting the link to their website and Facebook in the chat now. Oh, I was really hoping she'd be just bang straight, but she probably already has done it. So follow the links, folks, and check them out. We're very grateful that they have sponsored us tonight. Okay, now the second speaker for music coming to us from the Sunshine Coast via Texas is Ryan Anderson. Is he all hat and no cattle? In Texas, is everything big? Well, let's find out. Your time starts now.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mandy. Talk about committed to the quest. It looked like you had a dildo for a microphone. I'm not sure if that's what it was, but yeah, it was. I thought so. Gross. Okay, good. So to orgasm or to eargasm, that is the question. And I, for one, will choose to clean out my ears rather than change the sheets. Let me sort of set the stage before I get into my points about why music is better than sex. If you want to have a real debate, you have to bring economics into this. You have to account for inflation. It's 2020. We all know music ain't what it used to be, but sex really ain't what it used to be. According to Google, there's 41 genres of music with a handful of subcategories. In research for this debate, I looked at some porn sites and found that there are more than 700 categories of porn. Clown, cake sitting, vegetable, fish, toothless. That's 5 examples of the growing number of porn categories. Yuck. You aren't comparing apples to apples here, you're comparing apples to assholes. The rising level of ridiculous sexual acts compared to the declining number of genres of music has to be calculated to understand the real value of both. Declining number of music genres, you ask? Yeah. Did you know that country music and pop music are the same thing now? It's called country pop, but it doesn't matter what it's called because it should just be called shit, which is a porn category. Ask Taylor Swift about it, which is a porn category. And in some other cases, country rap, which if you say fast enough, sounds like what it actually is. Crap, which is a porn category. Did you know that last year the #1 Billboard hit for 19 weeks was Old Town Road by some dude called Lil Nas X and his obvious partner in crime, Billy Ray Cyrus? Don't you tell my achy breaky heart, Billy Ray, that you intended to pioneer the crap genre. But do you see what's going on here? You aren't gaining a new genre of music when you blend two together. You're losing two and creating a poorer version of them both, which is exactly what happens when two people have sex. Your clothes are off, your bits are out of place, there's hairs where there shouldn't be, it's cold, you're shriveled, it's hot, you're sweating in weird places, you start mouth breathing and just making weird noises. Hey, Mandy, sex is a ridiculous thing. It's awkward, the timing of it, especially as you get older, and have kids is way more difficult than your standard 4/4 timing in most radio hits. And beats per minute is hard to calculate if you don't make it last that long. At least with music, if you put on a bad album, you can turn it off and go in the other room. Try doing that with a girl you met at the pub an hour ago who just came out of a bad relationship and is telling you she loves you after getting back to your place. You can listen to music in your car at full blast and nobody will think twice. Have sex in a car at full blast and the resale value drops by at least $1,000 because the interior is sticky or crusty. It's hot in Queensland. Look, I'll wrap it up. Sex is a short-lived, embarrassing, naked exercise routine that usually ends in someone being disappointed. Don't get me wrong, I like sex, but in an apples-to-apples comparison, music is better when you take into account inflation, which is a porn category. That's me.
Ryananderson, folks, give him a very silent but vigorous round of applause. I tell you what, there's no questioning Ryan's commitment to his argument. It's not easy, Ryan, with that last bit that you were saying. It's not easy to say to the world, I prematurely ejaculate. It's not easy, mate, but you did it and you made it part of your argument for your team, and why wouldn't you? Aaqib Merchant, folks, is coming to us all the way from Melbourne. He is our second speaker for sex. He does relatable relationship comedy, so should we prepare ourselves for incest jokes about him not getting any action? Let's find out. Aaqib, your time starts now.
Yes. Hello. Hi, folks. Even I have a dildo for a microphone, if you know how to use it. Wink, wink. I think if, as Ryan said, let's bring economics into this. You know how much it costs to buy some legal music? A couple of pounds. Agreed. It's not that expensive. But do you know what it takes for legal sex? Just someone as old as our friend Kieran over here. You know what? I think I'll agree that if Ryan said that he likes some clown, I think he said clown porn is a category of porn. Yeah, I think I agree with him. But I'm a big clown porn fan. I love clown porn. I'm a big clown porn fan. I participate in parades for clown porn. I'm there with all makeups out. I'm there on the streets everywhere. Even in LGBT parades, I'm there out as a clown porn. Who gives a fuck, man? I love clown porn. Just tell me, guys, would you like some insane clown posse when it comes to music, or some insane clown pussy? What would you like? What would you like? By the way, that's an old picture of my colleague Mandy, back from her younger days, though. That's back from her younger days. Now let's start with the argument. Let's get into the thick of things. I think that sex is much better than music. Your neighbors would hate you if you did band practice all by yourself, loud, annoying. Who gives a fuck about your music? But they wouldn't hate you for practicing sex, i.e. masturbation, by yourself, unless they catch you masturbating in their house. So be wary, folks. If music were better than sex, bands wouldn't immediately, and I mean immediately, even before the sound guys left, jump into a pool of pussy right after concert. Immediately. You know what, guys? I need so many resources to make music. A studio, a soundproof room, months of hard work, or minutes of hard work, depends on the kind of music you listen to. To make love, I just need a woman who's as dumb as me. Sometimes not even that. I can just go ahead and buy a blow-up doll. And still put my lungs to better use than a vocalist. How many times have you paused crap shit fucking music to initiate coitus with your partner? Now tell me, how many times have you paused mid-sex, even if it's the worst sex of your life? It's parking lot, wherever the fuck is it? It's mall, toilets, I don't know. Even if it's the worst of your life, with your partner, to listen to music. When it comes to sex, having a diverse taste in women makes you humble, knowledgeable, and not a racist. Having a diverse taste in women makes you a pretentious hippie who just doesn't shut the fuck up. No, Daryl, I don't want to hear a song exclusively made up of whale mating sounds for 25 minutes straight. You know what else I hate about music? Music concerts. put your hands up in the air. Am I at a concert or am I being arrested? I don't know. Thank God our parents don't treat sex like music. You know how our parents reminisce about the song they got married to? Oh, yeah, son, that song was memorable. Would you like to hear your dad say, oh, yeah, son, that shag was memorable with your mom? The moment she sucked my dick like that, I knew she's a damn keeper. This isn't even real sex, what you guys do. Eating ass ain't good. Back in our days, missionary was the real thing. Thank you, guys. That's my time.
Aaqib mentioned, folks. Give him another vigorous but extremely silent round of applause. Actually, Aaqib said to me later tonight, Adam, I will be getting a bit of action. I thought, okay. I said, well, who is she, mate? And he said, no, It Chapter 2 is now on Netflix. I understand, mate. You got to please yourself sometimes, and sometimes, mate, your fetish chooses you. So good on ya. All right, folks, it's now time to call out the sponsor. Sorry, sponsor call out. This debate is brought to you by the Mount Morgan Art Gallery. The Inside Goss is their next major exhibition later this year, has a 50s themed rock and roll vibe to help you blow away the COVID blues. Check out their website or Facebook to find out more and stay in touch. The timekeeper is literally putting the link in the chat right now. Well done, I'll be timed that beautifully, Jodie. Good one, mate. Yay! Okay, folks, here it is. Our third speaker for music is Tom Sayers. He's a Rockhampton comedian who tours up and down the east coast of Australia. So, is that how Queensland gets its meth? Well, let's find out. Your time starts now.
All right. So I'm going to once and for all prove that music is better than sex. First of all, I'm going to hit you with some hypotheticals. Everybody remembers their grandparents' favorite music, but no one remembers their grandparents' favorite sex position. There's a reason for that. Hey, here's another hypothetical you probably didn't want to think about. Would you rather have sex with Keith Richards or see the Rolling Stones live? The obvious answer to that is see the Stones live. The Stones are that good music. Speaking of good music, something very important happens when you listen to really, really good just right music. You might get a little bit of a tear up, a little bit of a sniffle. That's because good music makes you cry. If music's making you cry, it's the best. If sex is making you cry, you need to dump him. It's that simple. Not only that, music helps with depression. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure a big cause of some depression is awful, awful sex. Can definitely get you like that. More importantly, no one's feeling embarrassed about listening to an entire album of Coldplay the same way they feel embarrassed after a one-night stand. Although they probably should be embarrassed by listening to Coldplay. Yeah, it's bad. More importantly, bad sex. Let's get back to that. Many people will just finish bad sex with a bad partner. Whereas if I hear Old Town Road one more time, I will kill somebody to make it stop. It's 2020. We need it to stop. Just need it to stop. Not only that, music reaches people in ways that sex just can't. I mean, sure, you can technically have sex by yourself, but it doesn't count. It straight up does not count. More importantly, though, music reaches people that sex cannot. For example, if you're in prison, there's no way you're getting sex unless you get me a carton of cigarettes and then see what I can do for you, man. See what I can do. More importantly, music is stress relief. Anybody who hasn't had a good time at a concert doesn't know what it's like to punch a wanker in a Metallica mosh pit. And speaking of Metallica, you can get down to some Miles Davis and have some sexy time, but no one's fingering the Master of Puppets. I mean, if you are, hit me up. More importantly, back to bands. If you are getting the most attention in a three-way, I hate to break it to you, you're the ugliest person in the three-way. But if you're getting the most attention and you're in a three-piece band, you're the lead singer. It's that simple. But let's make it real here for a second. Music touches us in a way that nothing else can. We all have that one album that gets to us. Mine is Live and Unplugged Nirvana. And every time I listen to it, there's a sexy kind of sensual creeping up the spine, a hair-raising delight that comes with it. And that's why music is better than sex, because you can get the same thing over and over. It's just better. That's me, guys.
Tom Sayers, folks, give him another round of applause. I'll tell you what, this debate is heating up, folks. The arguments are getting a bit punchy. There's not going to be any physical fighting going on, folks. So if you're sticking around for the cage fighting section at the end of the show, it doesn't exist because we're all socially distanced. Otherwise, we'd probably punch on just to find out who is really the winner. Anyway, I did speak to Tom's mum, and she said, my boy, I'm very, very talented. I'm very proud of him. Not many people can wank in a mosh pit. So making mum proud, Tom. You're making mum proud. Our final and third speaker for sex, Mr. Reid Willoughby. Let's say, is he one of Mackay's best, or is he one of the two comedians in Mackay? Well, let's find out. Your time starts now.
Alrighty. Well, to start off, Tom, I've just got a couple of rebuttals for you. I don't really remember my grandparents' favorite song. They were so old that I don't even know if they really knew what songs were. But I do remember walking in on them having sex. As much as I'd like to forget that, but that definitely had a bigger impact on my life than their music taste. Now, the Keith Richards thing, I mean, how could you possibly turn down sex with him? He's eternal. And he definitely has some sort of magic radioactive cum. I think it'd be like drinking ambrosia. Actually, maybe that's what the ancient Greeks were really drinking to get eternal life this whole time. And as for your Nirvana comment, I think if you ever had your prostate squeezed like a stress ball, you would change your mind about that. You'd go from the man who changed the world to the man who rocked his world. And actually, I think Nirvana is a pretty good description for that post-orgasm feeling you'd have. All right. Now, sex. It's a powerful word. Just hearing it makes you a blood rush and conjures up arousing images. Unless it's your parents that you're hearing, then it just conjures up nausea. But nonetheless, it's a powerful word, much more powerful than music. And that's because sex is better than music. Now, both sex and music have played pivotal roles in shaping mankind, but sex is clearly more important. I mean, if it wasn't, then why would all the best songs be about having sex? Not only that, but the only reason people even learn how to play music is because they think it'll help them get laid. Trust me, I was in a band for years, and it never worked. Like, just think, when you hear all those stories about band camp, are they talking about like the clarinet they were playing at recital or the skin flute they blew behind the bushes? Now, sex and music are both important, and it sucks if you can't succeed in either. But they've actually invented something for people who can't get laid. It's called a fleshlight, which is kind of how they invented DJ decks for people who can't make music. Now, one of the reasons sex is so great is because it's an intimate social activity, and we as species, we need intimacy and social connection. Like with music, you can sit alone in your bedroom all night and make something that society commends and is actually proud of. You can't do that with sex. Now, you might be thinking this makes music better, but no, because music can't replace the social intimacy of sex. Like the group aspect of it is what makes it so much more enriching. Just think to yourself, would you rather be involved in a jam session or an orgy? Like, would you rather clap some hands or clap some cheeks? And people actually like sex so much they refer to euphoric sensations as being as good as sex. Like, you'll never hear someone say, oh, try this cheesecake, it's as good as AC/DC. And that's because people intuitively know that sex is the greatest sensation. I mean, sure, music's great, but can it make you come? Now, sex and music both have some similarities. For instance, learning both takes time, patience, determination, and a lot of practice. However, learning to play an instrument might get you laid here or there, if you're good at it, but learning to make a girl come will get you laid continuously throughout your days. So I've heard. Like, it spreads like a mental virus through all the girls, through everyone that those girls tell. You become like a highly sought after person. Just think of Casanova. Like, instead of being that tortured artist, you'd be getting some taut asses. Now, sex is also a status symbol. It's the true measure of how appealing you are to the opposite sex. Like, think back to those high school days. Would you rather be the cool kid getting laid all the time or the nerdy kid practicing the trombone? So sex matters a lot. I mean, if you're 40 years old and you tell someone you can't play music, they're not really going to give a shit. But if you're 40 years old and you tell someone you're a virgin, they're actually going to feel pretty sorry for you. It's probably the only moment in your life where someone will actually offer to pay for a prostitute for you. Now, sex has more control over your brain than music does. Like, your brain's like wired for it. It even helps form stronger memories. Like, for instance, whenever I hear My Humps by the Black Eyed Peas, I get like a vivid flashback to the very first time I jerked off. But like, I'll never start jerking off and then think about the first time I heard Beat It by Michael Jackson. Like, actually, I think Michael Jackson's a pretty clear example of why sex is better than music. Because he was like at the top. He was a musical icon, literally like the biggest star in the world, and he still wanted sex. He wanted sex so much that it kind of destroyed his career. All right, so we all know that sex is better than music, so I'm just going to finish with this. Later on tonight, when we're all feeling lonely, every guy here is going to turn to their phone, and we all know they aren't going to be watching music videos. Thanks, guys.
Reid Willoughby, folks, give him some love. He was our last speaker. And I did say to him, I said, Reid, mate, how did you feel walking in on your parents, mate? Crikey. And he said, Adam, I felt confused and alone. But then they asked me to join in. And we're all good after that. Hey, do you understand now, Reid? Do you really, mate? All right, folks, it's now going to be your turn to do a little bit of voting, and there'll be some instructions coming your way. But first, we're just going to recap everyone's argument. Kieran McLeod, for music, he told us there's no such thing as a musically transmitted disease. Manic Mandy, for sex, told us, what are we supposed to do? Put a leg over an amplifier? Ryan Anderson for music told us an eargasm is a thing that you can have in public. Aaqib Merchant said he doesn't know how many clowns you can fit in a car, but they'd all definitely be in the back seat with him. Hey, Tom Sayers, he told us, he's for music, he told us, I can imagine Gran loving Sinatra. But S&M? Dunno. Reid Willoughby, for sex, he walked in on his parents and it made him the fun-loving deviant he is today. Beautiful. Okay, folks, as I understand it, you are being presented with the poll now, which means you have 5 minutes to vote, and I have 5 minutes to tell you some of my jokes. Yay! Hey, check it out, folks. I've got a bit of lockdown leftovers on my face. Can you see that? Oh, a dude said to me, mate, what are you trying to look like, a barista or a serial killer? And I said, yeah, I'm not sure yet. Now, that is the standard Australian response, but it's true. If I'm in Victoria, I look like I owe my parents $24,000 for a failed Melbourne craft beer startup. And if I'm anywhere else, I look like the love child of Wolverine and an alcoholic who manages a mini golf course with his mum. I tell you what, I've been looking through some of these pictures, mate. Look, I've caught sight of you, Liam. I've caught sight of you, mate, and I tell you what, I love the growth. You've really gone all the way there, mate. But I tell you what, you've got the look of a man, and I'm sorry to embarrass you. You've got the look of a man who ran out of toilet paper. No, you do, mate, you do. And you learnt something about yourself in that moment, Liam. You did, mate. You learnt there is no such thing as 3-ply cabbage leaf. But you did what you had to do. You did it, mate. And now you're here and you're with us, mate. And I appreciate it. And I tell you what, I've been missing the body odor appreciation. That's what I've been missing. I tell you what, we must be on Smell-a-Zoom because Justin, mate. Justin, I'm catching some wafts, mate. No. Let me guess. It's Man Cave, yeah. No, I've got that. With a bit of boot camp, right? With an aftertaste of Tim Tam and face rejuvenating night cream. Oh, come on, Justin, what are you're having an identity crisis? Isolation, Justin. It's happening in front of our eyes, mate. So did you answer this question seriously? Justin, listen to me. Justin Hart, listen. Did you put your manscaping on Instagram? Did you, mate? Answer that question. That's the most important thing. Hey, look, Liam will tell you. We've all done it. We've all done it. If you haven't put your manscaping on Instagram, give it a go. Oh, but I tell you what, freedom from lockdown. I took the dog for a proper walk around the territory. You know what I'm saying? Remarked the zone like you do. And I tell you what, the dog pissed on some things as well. No, he did. He had a good piss as well. And I tell you what, Mrs. Lee's letterbox, we had a bit of a sword fight. It is nice to get back out again. And I was at the supermarket. I was at the supermarket and there was a couple at the checkout and they're fighting over a carton of eggs. He said, "What's with the eggs? I don't eat eggs." And she said, "Well, I don't eat them either." And then I thought to myself, there's no way this will be the last time I see a vegan couple fighting over a carton of eggs that I slipped into their trolley. I called out, "You've been trolley bombed." Hey, trolley bombing, Liam. Have a go, mate. It's good fun. There was an older couple getting around. Tube of lube. At the checkout, straight into the bag, they share a cheeky smile, and Adam has done his good deed for the day. Hey, Liam, Justin, you're the guys. You know what I'm talking about here. Brett, you know what I'm talking about, mate. You went to Bunnings, didn't you, during lockdown, and they said, tradies only. Did you get it? I went at the wrong time of the day here in New South Wales. Tradies only. Now, Brett, mate, have you ever faked a tradie? It's called a fadie. Have you ever done it, mate? Now, what you do, you get the high vis, right? And you get the fake bollies from Bali. You know what I'm talking about. Hey, Liam, the easiest part of faking a tradie, mate, the meth addiction. It took me no time at all. No time at all. But I tell you what, I even put the toe nuts on the car. You know, the testicle simulators on the, look, I was desperate. My little girl needed a trampoline. Liam, it's 4 octopus straps, okay? It's a trailer net, right? And ambulance insurance. That's the recipe for a homemade trampoline for a 2-year-old. But anyway, the Bunnings dude took one look at the toe nuts and he said, "Mate, come on, that makes your polo look transgender." And it blew me cover, mate. It blew me cover. Now, I tell you what, folks, it is an interesting time to be out in Queensland at the moment, and there is a weak, diluted version of ice on the streets at the moment. No, there is. Listen, there is. And I don't want you to get ripped off, all right? So on the streets, they're calling it crystal meh. Come on! That's an incomplete wordplay joke. There's not too many of those around. All right, folks, it's time for me to check in and see how we're going with our vote. I suspect everyone's had a chance to place their votes. Let's go into the chats and see what's going on. Oh, we have a winner. Wow. Here it is. So 37% goes one way and 63% goes the other way. Can we guess? Ladies and gentlemen, can you please put your hands together? And for the team that scored 63%, sex. Yay! Sex is better than music. Yay! Get on your chats right now, folks, and share a bit of love. Tell the comedians how they were. Tell me that I was fantastic too. I don't mind. Look, you can if you want to. If you feel you need to, you don't have to, of course. But I tell you what, Aaqib, mate, clown porn. I'm never going to look at you the same. I'm not. I picture you with the red nose and the fluffy hair, and $15 a man under a bridge. No, I see it. I can see you doing it, mate. It's a beautiful thing, and we've had a fantastic time. That is essentially the end of our show, folks. And I will give one more call out to our sponsor, who we're very, very grateful that they've come on board. It's brought to you by the Mount Morgan Art Gallery near Rockhampton. The inside goss is that their next major exhibition later this year has a 50s themed rock and roll vibe to blow away all your COVID blues. So check out their website or their Facebook and keep in touch. The timekeeper has already put the link in the chat so you can catch up with them. Catch up with all that again soon. I hope you had fun, folks.